Every opportunity you've ever missed was invisible to you. That promotion, that relationship, that sudden insight. You didn't reject them. You never even saw them. By the end of this video, you will understand the precise neurological filter that makes your world smaller or larger than the person's next to you. And this filter is running right now, powered by a single story you tell yourself. It's the story of who you think you are. Your brain is a prediction machine. Its primary job is to guess what's going to happen next, so you can stay alive. To do this, it builds a model of the world. But it also builds a model of you. This model is your self-concept. It's the quiet, gut-level answer to the question, who am I? Am I the kind of person who is liked? Am I competent? Am I creative? Or disciplined? Or perpetually unlucky? The brain treats these answers like facts, like gravity. Once this model is in place, a mechanism called confirmation bias kicks in. Your brain begins to hunt for evidence that proves the model is correct. It's a loyalty to your own story. Your reticular activating system, a bundle of nerves at the brainstem, acts as a gatekeeper for information. It decides what gets through to your conscious mind out of the millions of bits of data bombarding you every second. What's the password? Relevance. And your self-concept defines what is relevant. Imagine someone whose core self-concept is, I'm not good with money. They walk through the world with a filter set to that reality. They will notice every unexpected bill. They'll remember every time they overspent. They'll feel the anxiety of looking at their bank account. An investment opportunity mentioned in a podcast is just noise. A friend's successful side business is just a story about someone else. Their brain dismisses the data that contradicts the core belief. It's like wearing glasses that only let in the light of financial struggle. The light of abundance is all around, but their lenses physically cannot perceive it. This process is mostly passive. A quiet sorting of reality behind the scenes to make the world feel predictable. But that's just the first layer. The process becomes far more active and far more powerful when your internal story starts getting broadcast to everyone around you. You broadcast your self-concept with every word you choose, every hesitation, every bit of your posture and tone of voice. And other people are experts at picking up these signals. They then reflect that story back to you, creating a powerful feedback loop. This isn't theory, it's called behavioral confirmation. The classic experiment on this is the Pygmalion study. In the 1960s, researchers Robert Rosenthal and Eleanor Jacobson went into an elementary school and gave students an IQ test. Then, they told the teachers that certain students were academic bloomers, poised for intellectual growth. The teachers were told these students were special. The truth was, these students were chosen completely at random. There was no difference between them and their classmates. The researchers came back at the end of the school year. The students labeled as bloomers showed significantly higher IQ gains than the other students. The teachers' belief in them had translated into a measurable change in their intelligence. How? The teachers gave the special students more attention. They gave them more challenging work. They gave them more time to answer questions. They communicated through thousands of micro-behaviors their high expectations. The students internalized this belief, rose to the occasion, and got smarter. You are both the teacher and the student in your own life. Your self-concept is the set of expectations you hold for yourself. If you believe you are socially awkward, you will enter a party with that expectation. You might stand in the corner. You might avoid eye contact. You might speak hesitantly, already anticipating rejection. People, picking up on these cues, will likely keep their distance or offer short, polite responses. Your brain then points to this experience and says, "See, I was right. I am awkward." The prophecy fulfills itself. You wrote the script, directed the actors, and then marveled at the outcome. This loop can feel impossible to escape. Each interaction seems to provide more proof that your story is true, and yet this entire process only covers how we influence the people we meet. The next layer of this mechanism shapes the very environment you walk through, long before you ever speak to anyone. Imagine two people standing on the same street corner in a busy city. The street is identical, the sounds are identical, the number of people is identical. The first person's self-concept is, I am an entrepreneur looking for my next venture. His eyes scan the environment for opportunity. He sees a vacant storefront and wonders about the rent. He notices a long line at a food truck and analyzes their inefficiency. He overhears a conversation about supply chain problems and sees a market gap. His world is a landscape of potential. The second person is standing on the exact same corner. Her self-concept is I am overworked and underpaid. She sees the same street. But her reality is different. She sees the intimidating glass towers of corporations she could never work for. She sees the exhaust fumes from the city bus she has to take home. She sees the prices in a restaurant window and feels a pang of anxiety. Her world is a landscape of obligations and obstacles. The city did not change. The filter did. Your self-concept determines what is salient in your environment. Salience is what your brain flags as important enough to bring to your conscious attention. The rest is just background noise. The world is overflowing with information, with opportunities, with connections, with dangers. You can only ever perceive a tiny fraction of it. Your self-concept is the curator. It selects what pieces of reality get to be in the final exhibition of your life. A person who sees themselves as uncreative will have genuinely creative ideas. Of course they will. But their filter will label those ideas as silly, random, or a distraction. They won't write them down. They won't explore them. The seed of a brilliant project dies before it's even recognized as a seed, because the farmer doesn't believe he owns a farm. He thinks he's just standing in a field of weeds. So we filter reality to match our story. We then behave in ways that cause others to confirm that story. But what about the things that feel like pure chance? A lucky break, a chance encounter, a moment of synchronicity that changes everything. That mechanism is perhaps the most profound of all. You've experienced this phenomenon before. You decide to buy a specific model of car, say a blue SUV. Suddenly, you see blue SUVs everywhere, on the highway, in the parking lot, in commercials. It feels like the world has been flooded with them overnight, but the number of blue SUVs didn't change. Your attention did. Your brain, having been given a new target, began highlighting every example it found in your perceptual field. The cars were always there. You just weren't looking for them. Your self-concept is a permanent search query running in the background of your mind. It's an instruction to your selective attention. Show me things relevant to this identity. If your identity is, I am someone who is constantly learning and growing, your brain's pattern recognition software gets to work. It will flag a podcast your friend mentions. It will make a sentence in a book seem to jump off the page. It will notice a flyer for a workshop. What feels like a lucky coincidence is often the collision of a prepared mind and random opportunity. The opportunity was always there, floating in the sea of infinite information. Your self-concept built the net that could catch it. Someone with a different self-concept would have sailed right past, completely unaware. They weren't unlucky, they just had a different net, or no net at all. Critics might say this is just confirmation bias with a spiritual spin, that it's wishful thinking. They're right, it isn't magic. It is, however, a fundamental feature of our neurology. It is a mechanical process. You are not manifesting a blue SUV from the ether by thinking about it. You are simply telling your world-class billion-dollar sensory filtering system to tag and highlight every blue SUV that passes through its field of vision. The power comes from directing that same system toward the components of the life you want to build. An identity is just a set of instructions for your attention. We've seen how this internal blueprint shapes what you notice and how you act. But the final layer is where the story truly becomes flesh. It's where your self-concept starts giving direct orders to your own biology. Your body is always listening to the stories your mind tells. It doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined threat and a real one. The field of psychoneuroimmunology is built on this fact. Your thoughts and beliefs translate directly into neurochemical signals that regulate your immune system, your endocrine system, and your entire physiology. Your self-concept is the master narrative directing this symphony. Consider the person whose self-concept is, I am a fragile person. My body is weak. They wake up with a stiff neck. Their brain, running the fragile script, interprets this sensation as a sign of impending illness or injury. This triggers a stress response. Cortisol levels rise. The sympathetic nervous system activates. This is the fight or flight state. If this narrative runs daily, the body is steeped in a low-grade chronic stress cocktail. Over time, this contributes to real physical problems: inflammation, suppressed immunity, poor digestion, The body diligently works to create the physical proof that validates the mind story. It is a loyal servant. Now, consider someone else with the exact same stiff neck. Their self-concept is "I am a strong, resilient athlete." Their brain runs the resilient script. It interprets the stiffness as simple muscle soreness from yesterday's workout. This is a sign of growth. The brain triggers a recovery response. It releases anti-inflammatory hormones. It activates the parasympathetic rest and digest system. The body gets to work repairing and strengthening the muscle. Same initial stimulus, dramatically different biological cascade, all directed by the underlying story of who I am. You can't cure a disease by repeating affirmations. It's about the deep, automatic, identity-level assumptions that guide your body's allocation of resources. Your body is constantly making decisions. Should I invest energy in repair and growth, or should I divert it to managing a perceived threat? Your self-concept provides the primary data for that decision. It is the long-term health plan you're executing, whether you wrote it consciously or not. The self-concept is not a passive description of your personality. It is an active command. It's a verb, not a noun. It is the generative blueprint from which your brain builds your perceived reality, from which you enact the behaviors that shape your relationships, and from which your body takes its daily physiological orders. You do not find a life that matches your self-concept. You generate one. The cage you feel trapped in, its bars are the habits that automatically confirm your story. The floor is the perceptual blindness to anything that contradicts it, and the lock is the deep-seated assumption that this cage is the entire world. But the blueprint can be redrafted. You are the architect. The most difficult truth is that you are constantly choosing this reality, with every belief you fail to question, and every familiar pattern you repeat. The crucial question is not, "Who am I?" That question looks to the past for an answer that no longer exists. The only question that matters is, who am I assuming myself to be, right now? Because that assumption is what creates your next minute, your next day, and your next year. And this same mechanism explains why changing that assumption feels so fake at first, which is a different kind of uncomfortable.